Hey, how's it going, everyone? Hey, sorry for the somewhat late recording. Just wasn't doing too well, wasn't feeling that good, and I needed to take the time to really get my mind right before I try to put this out. I just looked at it several times and I couldn't understand anything about it, and I just was in some personal difficulties, so I figured it would just be better to just kind of wait a little bit until some moment when I can effecate things a little bit better, think about things a little bit better. So hopefully that's now. We'll get this out in a here pretty quick. So yeah. So today we had last night we had this square to Saturn in opposition to Uranus, as well. The mundane astrology charts changed for cardinal rising locations. So to find that, you just want to erect the 0 degree Aries ingress for your area, and then see what type of sign was rising. If it was a cardinal sign rising, then the charts will change by the season. So spring, summer, fall, winter, and so on. If a fixed sign, of course, it's the Aries ingress chart for the whole year, and for the mutable signs, we have the fall chart will be the one that will change at that time. So that is very notable. It was the summer solstice last night. It's funny, I didn't record this video because I was getting good astrological information from other people, and I couldn't really understand what they meant, or all the information was there, but I couldn't process it. So I think things are getting a little bit better for me in that regard. Especially Mercury stationed direct on Tuesday. Looking forward to that. It's like Mercury's gonna finally kind of get out of the hospital a little bit on Tuesday, but Mercury direct, he's still motionless, so it's not as though he's rehabilitated in a certain way. The other way to think about it, we talked about it briefly before, is Mercury when he retrogrades from his maximum elongation point, maximum, I believe it's evening star, his maximum elongation when he starts retrograding. We go through a period where we really see the rough stuff that it's going to have to get purified, going to have to get changed, going to have to learn more about as we move on, right? And when we go through the Mercury Cazimi time, at that time, things do become a little bit more purified. We've made some progress on those regards. Things aren't moving forward, but they're as though we're more clear about them, and so on, right? So when Mercury comes back to the station direct, starts to move forward again, this is like the phoenix coming out of the ashes, right? So it could be rather dramatic. It could be, but I don't know. I'm not sure about that. But we do know that this week things are going to start moving forward again, and back to the ordinary way, so to speak, that we like them to. Hope that's helpful. Like I said, my understanding has been challenged this week. I just have not been able to think about astrology in the same way. I've been differently occupied. Just different stuff going on with me that I've had to put my attention on, other than astrology. And I've been learning other advanced astrology too. Actually, this Mercury retrograde for me in Gemini, I kept thinking back to that part in the Matrix, that best scene in the Matrix where Neo is strapped into the chair, right, and they just download all this stuff into his brain, and he just keeps taking it. It's kind of how it was for me. I bet that's how it was for you in some regard. Learning something new, like downloading all this stuff that you didn't know before. We're not totally clear on it, of course, but these downloads, so to speak, I don't really like that term, but metaphorically, it has happened, right? And it has we have already done that basically. So is what I'm trying to say. So when Mercury stations direct, you know, it's like Neo. You know, he got all those downloads, and now he has to apply them in the matrix, right? He has to apply them in the simulated matrix, and then in the real matrix or whatever. That's kind of like that, and that's kind of what I expect how this week will kind of go in general, right? So today, you know, we have this Venus trine Neptune, which is compassionate, I think, or illusionary, either way. And as the moon moves through that trine, as we go through Scorpio, you know, it's still not fun. It's not comfortable. Very clearly, right? You know, when things happen with moon contacts, you know, they don't just happen then. It kind of like seeds it for the time to come. Even if it's like a short time, you know, things get triggered that will have consequences down the line, right? And what to speak of the Uranus square Saturn that occurred? It was very painful for me in a way I didn't expect. You know, it very much. You know, it ended up being a very difficult personal confrontation with me, and it was spiritually wounding for me, and I had to deal with you know, all this emotional stuff. So I feel you if that's where you're at with that. So I mean, maybe today we can sort of mollify what that was with this Venus Neptune stuff. Maybe having fun, but you know, with the Scorpio trine, it looks more private, looks more in the background, sensitive type thing, right? Yeah, this Mars and Leo stuff too. We haven't really talked about it. We haven't really had an opportunity to talk about this stuff in a good way because of Mercury retrograde being the way he is. But yeah, this Mars and Leo deal. You know, I'm a Mercury in Leo, and my Venus is actually in Leo as well. Basically, Saturn is applying to it very slowly. And Venus is also my Time Lord for this year, so it's been a very painful time for me. I understand if you have a similar situation going on, but yeah, it's not been fun, but you know, we definitely have an opportunity to grow from all this, right? But I've been noticing, like, my brother also has Mercury in Leo, and like Mars is coming up against his Mercury, right? And so there is this like confrontation with authorities. There is this, or an authority figure, or the authority figures. Whatever Mars might be activating in your chart there will be against Saturn, in a sense, who is the authorities, what we are supposed to do, you know, to conform to, and so on. Okay. All right. So we're in Cancer season now, and I don't really know what to say about that, other than, you know, it's instead of this Gemini, you know, doing multiple things at once, you know, we're going to be putting the light and nurturing one thing at a time, probably, or, you know, that sensitive, nurturing that sensitive space, best as we can, right? And I like that we'll get to that. I was going to talk about the Sun trine Jupiter, which is on Wednesday, but, you know, okay, the weekly report starts right here. Today, you know, Venus trined Neptune. You know, it's somewhat compassionate, somewhat dreamy. I don't like Neptune. I don't like seeing anything contacting Neptune in any way, because, you know, it tends to idealize things, make things illusionary, create situations that don't have a really firm basis, right? So, you know, it could be nice, but I mean, I wouldn't put too much on whatever comes up, pretty much, right? It might be very important, you know, it might be very sensitive and good and so on, but, you know, I don't know, I wouldn't put too much on it, basically. Okay, so we get into Tuesday, and the moon will be void of course briefly in the morning, and then move into Sagittarius. So we have that here. Um, I think in your life or anyone's life, we've seen how the solar eclipse activated certain things. Certain things became, um, the radical new beginning, perhaps. Yeah. So I mean, with the moon context to the south node, it's kind of why I'm bringing this up. We're probably going to see some recurrence of that theme, which got started a month ago, right? Pretty clear. Right, but that doesn't happen until Wednesday. So basically, on Tuesday, the moon is applying to the south node, but he's really applying the square to Jupiter, which, it's both Jupiter's signs. So I mean, I actually think this will be a really good day. I think you should dream big. You should go do it. You should kind of go out on a trip in a way if you need to. I think with the trine to Mars, there, we're gonna the way we want to act, the things that we want to do, are gonna be in sync. But I like this Jupiter square because I mean it's like a mitigating condition. Um, Both the Jupiter's houses, the moon is there, so I think this will be really positive in some way. Um, Perhaps uplifting. I hope. Sorry, I'm just not personally in a very positive mindset right now. So I mean, it might be though. Things might really flip by tomorrow, by Tuesday. And Mercury will be stationing direct as well. So I mean, like our vision, like the way we're seeing things, the way where we want to go with this, in the ultimate sense of things, or in the future, like next year, like we can kind of be thinking about that. And at the same time, Mercury will be moving direct, so there's that. I mean, I think that's, I don't know. The thing is, I don't really know if like the good things that we expect from Mercury direct to show up on that day. I don't really know about that. I really think that things really won't be the way we want them to be until about mid-July, pretty much, with Mercury stuff. But I mean, Mercury will be gaining from there, and I think we have an opportunity to really be hopeful, be encouraged, be nurtured in this way with Jupiter, and we can take action in a good way with that. Okay, so as we get into Wednesday, the moon will go across the south node after midnight, makes a sextile to Saturn retrograde, and the sun will make the trine to Jupiter all before we get up, probably. And this is like steadying. It's Saturn is the greater malefic. We want to think good things about Saturn, but that's where our pain comes from in a great way. So, it's connecting to that in an easier way, the discipline, the work, so on. But with the sun trining Jupiter retrograde there, Jupiter is now fully retrograde. The trine aspect unlocks Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter, but it's most especially notable with Jupiter because it's very exact. But let's see, make sure I'm seeing this right. Okay. So Jupiter will be moving back into Aquarius, and we'll talk about that later. But, I feel like on one level this could be like a conversation that you have with, someone that can help you, someone that can understand where you're coming from, somebody that can encourage you wherever you are with what's going on, especially with this opposition to Mercury. Kind of, you can really have a one-on-one, perhaps, could be possible in the morning here, in a very uplifting, positive way, I hope. For us all, I hope for us all we can have that. So something like that. And then towards the end of the day, it gets a little uglier, in my opinion, with Venus opposing Pluto. It's pretty ugly, not fun. Venus is fun, Pluto is dying, basically, or, the powers that be. So, don't get wrapped up into a power situation where you could lose something, enjoy, but don't do the extreme thing, because, with the moon square Neptune here, it could be more or less confusing, wishy-washy, unclear, not fun, and so on. So I think the better energy is definitely in the morning, towards the beginning of the afternoon on Wednesday. I think it'd be a little bit different if the moon was aspecting Venus, but you might see some manifestation of this at this time, rather than it really affecting our mood, so to speak. I think our mood will be more conditioned by this Mercury Neptune stuff, which is, I think we've had enough of that, but we got another little bit of it. So moon hits the south node, opposes Mercury, who's stationary, and then the square to Neptune. So it doesn't look fun. So the moon is void, of course, off of Neptune. Or he's void, of course, off of Mercury, either way. So, it's kind of like a not fun day, unfortunately, as far as the way things are really showing up is concerned. Energetically, like in our soul level, or like the way we want to think about things, like hoping, visioning for the future, looking ahead, I think that's really available on Wednesday, but overall, it doesn't look like a fun day, in my opinion. So as the moon goes into, we go into Thursday, the moon will go into Capricorn and then apply to the sun opposition for the full moon. So Capricorn full moon, the moon is in exile here. If you're a moon in Capricorn, this might be good for you. That's like me. But there is extra light here for that. Whatever this is in your chart, whatever Capricorn rules in your chart, will get this extra light, this extra attention. However, I think we're going to see the light get shown on the system, the way that Capricorn really is about the wall that separates us from being homeless, basically, in a very large way. When you talk about the world, it's just very clearly like that division. So it could emphasize those themes wherever you find yourself on that, wherever you find yourself in the system or outside of the system. But the system, so to speak, I think will be extra emphasized, discombobulated, so to speak. I've heard that. Someone said that. But overall, I really don't know what to say about it. The moon will be applying the sextile to Jupiter retrograde, which is great. I think that's awesome to have that at the same time, because it's just it's a mild connection to Jupiter, who's in his own house, stationary, so somewhat more powerful in a sense. So I'd be looking out for that. That's really all we have all day on Thursday. It's just that Capricorn full moon. So, the moon will be full. There will be a fullness to things, and probably focusing on the way we follow the system, the way we connect to the rules of society, right? In a large way, probably. That's what I expect. Okay, so as we get into Friday, the moon will apply the trine to Uranus by the early morning. And Neptune is stationed retrograde, and the moon will connect to Neptune. So Neptune themes could be extra emphasized, extra intense. Things could be dreamy, kind of washed out. Not a lot happening with that, but the moon is applying to Pluto, which is not fun ever. Definitely towards the midnight. At least it's at midnight. That's a pretty nice thing to see for us. That the moon will not be doing that in the middle of the day, but yeah, I mean, it's a connection to your Taurus area of life, the way that Uranus has been changing things here. Maybe I could emphasize, because since the moon is coming off of this, wherever you're seeing the light get really put with this Capricorn area, maybe it's like planning, structure, the way that you find structure, maybe through planning. You could do all of that in a different way. We've had this trine to Uranus so many times out of Capricorn, but it could be a good time to revise your plans. But we have this Neptune influence, so I mean, whatever you plan, definitely want to check that out. All right, I don't know what else to say about Friday. It is what it is. Sort of an ugly time. So the moon will leave Capricorn, and yeah, with the moon being so full, applying to Capricorn or applying to Pluto, you could really see like the ugliness of things, like big, full light illumination on that. So I mean, things could be exposed about the darkness of the system and the way it is at this time in the middle of the night. It could come out more in the morning, I guess, but the moon will oppose Venus as well, because Venus will be at the end of Cancer here. So yeah, I mean, that's why I kind of emphasize, don't do anything super shady. Don't take advantage of anyone. Not to say that that's what you're usually up to, but I'm saying that like you'll really feel it at this time if you were really trying to actualize that type of deal in any kind of way when Venus opposed Pluto, I think. So I mean, you'll really feel it in the morning on Saturday. Not comfortable. Venus in the anaretic degree, kind of excessively wanting to take things to be like nice, like kind of comfortable, easy, the way we get enjoyment, nurturing, sort of coming to an extreme, right? Because Venus will move into Leo at the end of the day while the moon is in Aquarius. So the Venus will be in the same sign as Mars now, applying that conjunction to Mars. So I like that Venus is applying to Mars. Mars applying to Venus is, too aggressive, usually indicated. But, Venus coming up to Mars, there could be this harmony between man and woman, so to speak. But, I feel like we'll be really feeling how that doesn't work, how that doesn't make what we want it to be with the moon, like right here in the middle of Pluto and Saturn, right? And we've got a lot of retrograde planets now at this point. So all the outer planets except for Uranus are retrograde. So, their themes are all more intense. They're more fixed in one particular way rather than the ongoing process of it. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be too dismal with you all. I mean, it's just, I just don't see this week as being very good in many ways. I do like that Venus is moving into Leo, coming up to Mars, but in the morning on Sunday, the moon will be opposing Mars. The way we are feeling is like very much opposed to the way we want to speak out or act out against the restrictions or against the authorities. We're kind of feeling more on the side of like wanting to conform, not stand out, kind of like going with the crowd or whatever. Because on Sunday morning, the moon will be applying the conjunction to Saturn, and we'll be feeling the intensity of Saturn at that time against the square to Uranus, who wants to break forward, who wants to break free, who needs things to change now. So we'll be kind of like seeing that from Saturn's side. So I don't want to be totally down on it, because you can see Saturn's perspective here if you want. Not to say that that's healthy, but we do need some element of Saturn in our lives, right? Even though Uranus here, whatever Uranus is for you, wants to break forward, do something new, and so on, right? So once that's all over on Sunday, at least the moon will be applying the trine to Mercury, and that is just awesome, in my opinion. As a Mercury-ruled person, pretty good. But that'll be, the moon will be void of course off of that, so there might be like a good moment for interfacing, maybe talking to a Saturnine personality if you need to. It could be one of the better times to do that, but, there are other indications that would lead me to think that maybe avoiding the confrontation would be better at this time. But there is a way to get the message out, get the point across. We definitely are aware that we're moving forward with Mercury by now. At least, if it's not getting the message across, it's like we're feeling like our corporal part of our being is aware that things are moving forward, despite all the restrictions and the insanity and whatever. You know what I mean? All right. Okay. We could get into Monday, but we won't. I'll be back on Sunday. I'll be back on Sunday. I hope this was somewhat helpful. It's just not exactly super fun astrology. I hope you have a good night tonight. This could be a good day. So soak that up. And enjoy that. So I'll catch you on the next one. God bless you. And I thank you for watching my video.